Now what? Yes. Hi, I am Brenda Jean Power Medicine Woman. I have Medicine Woman Solution. There's a solution for every problem, and there's a metaphysical reason. You are made of energy, and there's a stuff you can do. You can learn to resolve, to evolve. A lot of people say, well, what does that really mean? Well, first of all, you need to begin to understand that when you have issues, how do you see them? How do you respond? Is it in the positive, or is it in the negative? Are you left brain, right brain? What and who are you? But what's important for you to understand is that you make a difference. A lot of people don't think they do. And I believe that it's time we learn something different. Literally learn something different. Sorry, my iPad was stuck to the thing. I'm a jig. So I think it's very important for people to begin to wake up and notice that you're not asleep anymore. Yes, you're bitching, you're moaning, but that's not being awake. You see the problems of the world and angry. That's not awake. You are observing, you're responding, but that's not awake. So what does it mean then? Well, it means that I need to find the cord to this so that I can start focusing and paying attention to communicating properly. So what we'll do before I begin my talk, make sure you share out to the world that it's time to wake up and to realize that they can make a difference, that they have made a difference in people's lives. So how do you wake up? How do you get out of hell? Where is my free pass out of jail? Oh, in the prisons we put ourselves in. It's very processing. That's what most people do. They are processing. So what has, for me, it's my Monday, so it's still your Sunday. So
yes.
So how is everybody's weekend? How is everybody doing? That is, that is what's important. How if you're sensitive, you're probably going to get more caught up into the unrest. If you are, sorry, it says, say it when you see it. So I just happened to notice that somebody's putting an air conditioner in, but they're putting it in backwards. That means they're going to get the exhaust and the outside's going to cool off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
we've had storms here the last couple of days, and it is 97 degrees here, which is, I believe, 36 Celsius.
I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, I looked it up because I have friends in Australia that don't have any clue what Fahrenheit is. And when I say 97 degrees, they're thinking,
damn, that's hot.
Yeah. Well, it is hot. And it's
right. Yeah.
And it's humid too. Oofda.
Yeah, humidity we could do without. Darwin is the closest that I found. I haven't gone to Perth or anything, but in Michigan's humidity. So I have had a meme I put up 8 years ago. It says the soul always knows how to heal itself. The next step is to learn the language. And that's what my job is to help you learn the language. It really is, because when you begin to wake up, how do you wake up from a normal life? How do you wake up from, this shit's got to stop? Well, or you're complaining, or I don't want to live this way. That's not waking up per se. But I've been working all weekend on the classes, the academy, and so that you can begin to really see the difference of how to wake up, how to do it, what's it look like. And so, like with Betty should talk, and she's like, okay, so where's the process? Where's the, and it's like, I know it's there. The procedure's there. I can see it. I Well, I will say, Miss Betty, it has come through a lot more. So this weekend was very important. We didn't have class on Friday because um, it's where everybody was meant to be. It's like, what are people doing? And it was nice to hear back from my students that they could see why there was no class. They could see and learn, and there were some growth, a lot of growth this weekend. So that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. It's important for you to remember that you just weren't born to be somebody's punching bag. You weren't born to be to pass down the lineage of hell. And a lot of you were born in a family you're thinking, but I don't feel like I belong. I belong somewhere else. Even so much so that Amy jumped over and decided, oh, I want those parents. I'll go over and get these ones. And still the question is, was I born in the right family?
I don't think so.
Well, the answer is yes, you were born into the exact family that's going to create the most growth for you. The thing is can you evolve out of that personality of your personal reality that creates this particular way you live? And that's one of the things I've noticed is when I started to ask the question, who are we? What are we? And when you begin to awaken, that's usually the first thing you end up doing is asking those questions. Who am I? You know, why am I here? There's a part of you that starts to want to return back to love. And to do so, you'll feel that you can't find love, feel love. You can't define love. That was the huge one for me. Was that there was my mom, there was my family, but what the hell is love? And I would look and it felt like I couldn't feel their love. And as I would do my best to get love, feel love, I just didn't feel like love. I shouldn't have to force it to get love, which is the majority of what people do is we force things to get love. And I can't tell if anything's working because my thing won't pop on, so I have no idea. So give me a second here. I'm going to try a different way to get in. Maybe I can see it from another perspective. Thing won't pop on, so I have no idea. Oh, Brenda, you're so silly. Shh, quiet, girl. Okay, so there we go. It's small, but it'll work. So, asking the question, what is love? You have to remember that the only way that you're going to ever understand what love is by what it's not. So let me explain even further. You don't know how good something is until you can make a parameter. So you can measure it. When consciousness decided to go from the void and go inward and out popped the God point, God's running around going, I'm going over here. Well, how do you know if you're here if there's no there? And so no matter what happened, God decided to go inward and create a mirror consciousness and thought it was good to have one of us. God said, oh, look what I've done. And then God says, okay, you know what? What if I give this mirror consciousness a soul recorder so it can record all the adventures that it's going to have? And so then mirror consciousness turned into all of us. We are spirit first. We all have a soul, and we are recording, and we are creating adventures. And spirit says, hey, every time we go inward, we're going to create an involution, and we're going to take it to the seventh degree. Let's just, make that part up. But the point is that it's expanded so that time, space, energy, and information was way out here. So when you ask for a prayer, it took this much time to get your answer. Okay, so we've gone to the farthest that we want to, and now it's coming back to evolution. The consciousness is rising, which means no more involution, no more having to go into the depths of hell to see what you can create, what dimensions, what parallel lives, what, all that complicated stuff. So as we start to go inward, which is what we're doing, and we start to wake up, we're looking and going, oh, that paradigm, that's not love. Kindness is love. Okay. Taking people and abusing them, that's not love. Waking up and starting to realize that that person that you figured was an it and an object, you begin to wake up and realize I was treating them that way. Their voice does matter. It's not just mine. And some of these paradigms are so unique. As simply as you look out, well, if you can't do it, I can't do it. Right? No, that's not how. It usually starts with, what are you doing? I can't do it. There's no way you can do it. And that type of thinking, I want you to just take a second to what I just said. If I can't do it, there's no way that I can see you do it. Therefore, it can't be done. And here's the kicker. I can't have you show up any other way than I let you. So if I see that you're not evolving, then you're not going to evolve in my eyes. So they have to go away. If they're going to grow, they may have to grow away from you in order to recognize their internal truth and project something different. Because the more that they heal and resolve, the more that they can produce outside themselves people that are evolving too. So again, no one can show up to you any other way than you let them. It is very important to understand your projections from you within your own individual part to the collective whole. We don't want to waste the message, but we also can't idolize something and throw them up on a pedestal and assume that this is going to make a difference. Sometimes we want to knock people off that pedestal. So we're always constantly doing what? Back and forth, seesawing, one extreme to the other, one extreme to the other. How can I make a difference? How can I do this? How? Well, this is part of how you wake up. We have to find that third option. We have to, look and see a bigger picture. And your voice does matter. And I try to do my best, doing my best to teach the students that their voice matters. So when it's time to paraphrasing, they can get past their comfort zone and their fears and those programs that says, well, and when I ask them to share their experiences, which means as they begin to wake up in ego with their spiritual mindset and finding that authenticity, you mean my experience matters? Yes. Because if you can get out of it, maybe that can give us a sign of how we can get out of it. And sometimes we project things that we don't understand in order to see it. And that's what we do. Because inside, we can't see it. The first ring out is where we are projecting, and all of a sudden we begin to see it. But if that is still too close, then we have to project it out and project it out and project it out. And all the rings make a difference. But as you begin to wake up, you're going to realize that it's you that's making the difference. When you're sitting there thinking, oh, I just hate their behavior, but that's not what you say. I hate them. I can't stand that they treat me like this. You're starting to notice, if you're waking up and when you wake up, shit, what side of cause and effect am I on? What side of, what am I doing with karma? What? Begin to ask those questions. Begin to ask, who am I? Begin. Just begin. When you realize that you're standing in the effect side of the equation and you're pushing that cause out because you're like, I got to protect myself, man, safety, security, stability, fuck joy. I can't even get to joy. There's too much shit going on and it's all happening to me. Wake up. It's responding to you. Universe is giving you exactly what you asked for. I didn't ask for this shit. But if you are not waking up to what is love and you found out what love isn't, then you have seen this before. You have witnessed this before. Every person as you age will be stand-ins for the original. You have seen this before. Wake up. Why is my soul wanting me to see so-and-so as a dickhead? Was I a dickhead somehow in my thinking, in my feeling, in my responding? When people start to wake up, they don't quite wake up. They'll do the ultra spiritual. Oh yeah, they got all things spiritual. I got my rocks. I got my this. I got my that. But if you can live it, breathe it, walk it, talk it, and dream it, meaning to take the other side of you, which is your shadow side, your false self side, and realize it's not the enemy. The only way for evolution is for the spiritual side to wake up inside of the ego and realize, oh shit, I'm losing power to when they're being butt heads. That's how I'm projecting, is I'm still being hurt by this. This can't rest because the universe is going to keep responding to this because I keep investing my life force into thinking this is real. Even if it's real, the point is, do you want to continue to keep creating? You have to uninvest. You have to let it go. You have to, and you can't just let it go just by, okay, let it go. I've found over time that you have to understand that you are an energetic being. And that when you understand that this frontal lobe creates reality, and that when you go into stress mode, that's where all hell breaks loose. Whether it's in your physical body or out in front of you. If you're over there bitching about somebody, you're doing your best to either stay where you are or wake your ass up by trying to find different things, that different contrasts, different things that'll help you change your mind to shake it loose. And that only fires and wires and puts it back into our brain and into our body's consciousness deeper. You need to take the next step. Use a tool, OMG tool, tapping, to hope therapy, to cord cutting or cord switching, whatever. The point is you need to get this blood back up into this frontal lobe so that you can calm down those emotions and you can change that thinking. That thinking only goes ape shit when the emotions are vibrating in lower than 500. 500 hertz. What does all this freaking mean? Who you are does make a difference. Who you are does make a difference. Because if you are just waking up and you don't know what you need to know in order to grow, then you won't grow. You won't look for it. But sometimes if you can learn how to wake up in a whisper instead of a bitch slap, instead of being forced to change out of that comfort zone, and there's no way to go back to that now, that's the hard road. There is another road to wake up. When you begin to grow, it's very, very important for you. And there are all these steps, but let me tell you, to take it and break it down to how you can do it in a protocol way is what I've been doing with the students, doing my best to help them wake up. And I don't know if they even realized how many steps there were just to get as far as they got. I hadn't realized how far I've come within these intentionally living for over 30 some years. And when I started to really notice all these little things, I realized who I am makes a difference for me. My voice matters to me. And when you can stop portraying yourself and giving your power away, and you learn to keep your power and you learn to grow, you can make a difference in your world. When I made the major decision to leave my husband and to come to Australia, it was going against in the ego world. What will my kids think? What will people think? But that's not me. I wasn't born for them. I was born for me. My voice makes a difference. And I decided to just wake up. And when I woke up, it was like, I can't live this. And every time I did everything everybody asked, I was betraying myself. And every time I went further, when I just trained people to treat me a certain way, I became the victim archetype. I said, no, I take my power back. And as I slowly, quietly took my power back, I was the quiet rebel. And even though I was displaying this is who I am, can't you just go back to who you were? No. Well, you're being stubborn. Thank you. Means I must be doing it right. My voice mattered. My voice mattered because I've had people say, I want to understand how you got away from a narcissist. How did you change your world? How did you stop looking at him and disliking him? Why is it that you can be who you are? And I'm only one path, one tiny path, but one big path. Depends on how you want and who you are. That's why the tribe has everything to do with, if I can resonate with you, that's where I'm supposed to learn to grow. And then all of a sudden you're like, but I'm in another tribe. That's okay. You're waking up. So, hello, everybody. So what's important? What is important? That's your value. What's important to me? That's your value. If you find that when you're with somebody, an enemy, somebody else, or somebody that has always power over you, what's your value? Because all of a sudden, their opinion matters. You betray yourself, you sink in your energy, you lose power. Why? I need safety, security, and stability, and they must be right. So you value their opinion without realizing what you're doing to yourself. These little things, as I begin to help myself and my students wake up, to look at it, to address it differently, to find the answers, and to use a tool when they're going through their hells. Simply put, hells are those moments that you can't change. The hells are when you go in your negative state, a negative feeling, and you're swallowed by it. Insanity just looks like it's never going to come. So insanity, here I come. Cancel. But if you are there, you want it to end, but you don't know how. All my coping abilities, I don't know how to handle this. Or maybe that was your coping ability, was to handle it in that way. So I could go on and on and on and on, and I can teach you from different directions, different perspectives. But what I am going to say, and one of the things that I used to do is give a person a card, and I would say, all right, so Amy, everybody, read this out loud, Amy, so I can hear.
Who I am makes a difference.
Who I am makes a difference. When I first gave that for my first card out, some of the faces were like, wait, what? Did I just say that out loud? I make a difference? I can't say that. And before they can really get in to judge themselves, I'd stop and say, yes, you make a difference in my world. I've never had a dad per se because mine died. The only memories I have is being fearful of him, but you made a difference in my world because you told me I could be safe. I could be loved. I can be myself in front of you. And there are times when you just like give me a cinnamon roll just because, and I was like, what? Because I never learned. It was like when you approach the bear, don't poke it. So you never approached. You didn't know what love is. You didn't know. And I gave out so many of these cards because so many times you don't understand that sometimes your bold choice or your personality can make a difference in a person's world. Every time I'm around certain people that do this to me, I feel stronger, and it's okay. It feels good. when my husband I'm married to now, when I looked at him, this is who you are makes a difference. Just for him to show me that he adored me was a different kind of love that I never had before. Why are you doing that? He said, that's the way I love. I've never felt that way before. I never understood that. I adored people, but I never had it done to me. And I gave it, my brother, he may have had a lot of issues, but damn, he made a difference in my world. I fell down the stairs, and we had this old house, and the stairs, I can't remember, they're just one huge, long ones. And at the top, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-bedroom doors, but the landing was hardly any, and it was so slippery. I fell down those stairs at least 7 times. Well, the first time I fell down, I was out of breath. I couldn't breathe, and I'm laying there. I couldn't even cry. And then everybody came rushing to me, and my brother, he always had lip balm, and he took that lip balm with him everywhere. He looked at me, and there wasn't much left. And he looked at me, he says, here, he took something that was his. I don't care if he felt like he was done, he was going to throw it away, but he thought that moment made a difference, and it did. Because it was like, as soon as he handed that to me, my attention went away from my pain over to, my family does love me, because I've had people tell me in my family, oh, they don't love you, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, that made a difference. I'm 52, 53, I don't know. I'm in my 50s, and I still remember it. It's the little things. My older sister, she had moved away. We came to visit, and she lived like probably 40 minutes away. It's so funny because Michigan talks about, instead of miles, they say time. So anyway, that's 30 miles or so, 25 miles or so. But anyway, we got there, and I was hungry, and, we never asked for food. We never, I've learned that. And it was her home, and it doesn't matter what she was, but the point is, the kindness is that she took something that we normally couldn't afford, which is Pop-Tarts. And Amy's learned that sometimes when something simple as that can be a comfort. And I remember sitting there, and all of a sudden she made me a strawberry Pop-Tart. Never seen one before. And I'm looking at it, and she toasted it and gave it to me, and it's like, I just remember looking up going, wow, she shared something very expensive with me. She made a difference. It was the kindness that I started learning from my family members. It didn't matter what kind of life they've had. They took a moment, and they made a difference. When I needed to, give me a minute. So what I want people to do is understand you need to make a difference. Yeah, I told him I will do this as long as you don't make my makeup run. The little. So Amy, again, will you read it?
Who I am makes a difference.
Yes, you do, Amy. Your voice makes a difference. I don't care what kind of life you've had, but you entered my world, and you may have been just a standbyer that watched, a fan, but when I said to Spirit, okay, I need someone to talk to. I've got my wonderful husband, but at the time he was working, and I need to develop my skills. I need to take this next road. And Amy comes along with her act of kindness, her act of love, her excitement, yeah, everything's good. Oh, what? I mean, every time she would just have these epiphany faces. They'd be like, I mean, she made a difference in my world because I don't have to be sad for a person to make a difference. You know, I'm used to doing things alone. She'd write to me in the morning, go pee, get your coffee, do this, here's this. Okay, you're all set, let's go. Um, little gifts, little things. You wouldn't know it makes a difference, but she sent me a package. It was like Christmas because we don't really celebrate. Me and my husband don't really celebrate Christmas like I did when I was a kid, or I did when I had my kids. You know, it's different when you get older. It's different. And when I opened that package, I could see she thought of me. Every little individual thing in that box was, oh, this reminds me of you. Oh, I know you like this. I was paying attention. I just wanted to cry because it was, I mean, oh, I don't have it on. No offense, Amy. My watch. I hurried up. Okay, so my watch band. People can, oh, hold on. You know, people should see your view. See the watch band she's got. Okay. Now, I like that style, right? I never really told her, not that I remember.
Oh, many times. Many times.
I had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't hinting at all. It was just like I knew that I was trying to make myself a new watch band because mine broke. Duct tape, I was like, duct tape just isn't as pretty anymore. Yes, I fix things with duct tape. And
duct tape is amazing.
It worked, didn't it? And I had these pieces. I was trying to figure out how to make that. And it's like, I couldn't do it. And I was going to. I know it eventually. It got there. And then all of a sudden in the mail was this watch band. I said, they have this? They make this? I'm not one for going out and spending money on myself or anything. And so, Amy, you have made a difference in your voice, in your growth. Every time we're in class, and I don't care how quiet, yes, you may be the quietest one. Yeah. You may only say very few words, but you're getting it. Because the words you are saying is that you're not stuck in ego, pretty much. You're like looking at it going, I don't have to think that way anymore. And so then you will start noticing, like, cancel. You're starting to catch when all of a sudden when somebody really loses power. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you're correcting, it's just that in your mind, you're realizing, oh, I recognize what needs to be changed. And so you're learning, you're growing. You've made a difference in my world. I hope you understand that. I hope you feel that. And I hope you just embrace that. It's just, thank you. That's what I want you to know. I mean, there's more I could say, but I've only got an hour or a couple hour show. But this is the meme I want to put out. And it says, say out loud and proud, who I am makes a difference. As a soul, yes, you do. You are me and I am you. Together we resolve our issues. The more we evolve our soul, it's important to become you and raise your levels of consciousness. Awake and walk your path. Be like a smile, for it will be contagious. That is a good thing to go viral. As a human, you make a difference. Just the very act of being born shows that you are worth it. You're meant to be here to change or support the collective consciousness, a chance to help others and yourself to return to love. As an individual consciousness, every time you wake up in the morning, you get a chance to think and a chance to change your beliefs, a chance to educate yourself to create a healthier environment. You get a chance to mature all 4 levels of the quotient. Okay, this is where my brain does its thing. I'm not going to condemn it. A chance to those that are watching, from a child to a quiet watcher and to fans, to observe that you make a difference between your heaven and hell. You're like a catalog of life. To change one's choice that changes the beliefs. There alone makes a difference. One person can make a difference. It is a chance of hope to a healthier alignment can be achieved. You matter as a soul and as a human. Your voice matters and your consciousness matters. And thank you.
Wow.
I think that is, you liked it?
I love that.
Well, that is what I want to put out to the world. I've lost my screen. That's what I want to put out to the world. And I want people to share. I want people to understand that we have to create big movements for an evolution. So sometimes you have to create a revolution to make an evolution so you can create the revolution of your soul. Gatorade had a great commercial years ago, and I may put it up again on my wall so you can see it. It's a great little, song that makes you tap. If you want to create a evolution or a revolution or whatever, you got to evolve. You just have to evolve. And that's what I want people to understand, is that, like I said in class, when they're talking and when they're paraphrasing and when they have a witness, their voice matters because it helps other people see another perspective that they hadn't. We're not asking to say, oh, look, there's another asshole, there's another this and that. We're not gathering minions. We're not having to stay in a place of hell. I want to see you awaken. I want you to be able to get it. That's very, very important. Betty says, I spent my cycles believing I had no other choice but to suffer. I see layers of my growth more and more every day. Joy is amazing and is worth growing pains. Amen, Betty. Excellent. Because as I had the motto was suffering is an option. And I had an anchor for representing hope, because my business name is called Hope, giving hope. And the big G was God giving hope, helping other people evolve. That's what it was all about. And the anchor, so it was suffering is an option, anchor your life in hope. Because when you begin to realize that you're hardwired for joy, when you begin to see those little things, so Betty, you make my heart sing, because you're getting it. It's little things in your life that if you can wake up to and say, oh, well, no, I don't have to believe that. I don't have to keep giving that power. I stop accepting. I change that decision. No longer does it need to be limited. You can keep changing and changing it and changing it. And when you do, it's the people around you. I remember it was right after my mother died. My sister, I stayed there because my sister, I didn't feel like she was quite ready to be on her own. I can't remember if she had been 17 or 18 at that time now. She just graduated. And so we had one of her friends move in because she needed to move away from where she lived. And I said, well, there's a room for rent there. And so she did. And one day she had said something to me. And I was like, what? She looked up to me. And when I'm like, why the hell are you doing that? And when she explained that she wanted confidence to be able to be a strong woman, I'm like, what? I mean, I'm a obliterating mess. I mean, my mom died. Trying to figure out how to bring money in. I'm staying with helping my sister so that she can feel like she doesn't have to be alone because mom died, and that there was no security there. I had a lot of fears and insecurity myself. I just was like, what do I do? How do I do it? And my identity was wrapped up in my taking care of my mother, that it was like, who am I now? And during those moments, this teenager, well, 17, I think, basically told me I had made a difference in her world. I was like, are you wow. And I realized that my sister had been watching me all her life. And did that make her a better person? Probably not. She's not talking to me today because our values and our beliefs and is different. Does that mean that she's wrong and I'm wrong? No. It just means that we're choosing two different paths. I still love her, but we can't live in the same environment type thing. And that's fine. That's okay. She wasn't born to be my sister forever, that I have to own her just because it was the word sister. She was a beautiful soul that was born into that body, and we shared a certain amount of time together as sisters, and now she's living her life, and go for it. If it makes you happy, go live to be you. And I will stand there and I will root you on. I will want to see you succeed. And she went and had this cookbook. She goes, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And she was learning how to cook certain foods. And lo and behold, she did it. She made a cookbook. And then she was having pictures and putting them on. I mean, this was a huge step for her for being an antisocial person to getting out there. And it's like, go for it. The world needs your voice. A lot of people don't know how to cook the certain way she cooks. Make a difference. Even though she's not in my life, she made a difference. And again, how she's choosing to live, how I'm choosing to live, it's okay. I don't have to sit there and go, well, God damn it, she's such a bitch. Why? Why would I need to do that? Why do I need to have her be the sun and I evolve around it and I've wasted my time of my life focusing on the fact she doesn't like me? It's okay. You learn to let that go and you learn to thrive and actually respect the fact that you've got the space now to live the way you want and that you can call in and have a better life. You can't make known the unknown if you are so afraid of the unknown. Get out of your comfort zone and get out there and create your life. That's what that's for. We have forgotten how to have skills. We have forgotten to have a voice. We have forgotten. Because it's like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know if I said that right. Amy, I'm looking towards Amy's comments and I'm looking at her face. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I keep giving my power away because I can't tell who's right or wrong. And if somebody else was in the room, no. Dive in, even if it sounds stupid. You grow from it. Oh, yeah, it'll make me just embarrassed and I'll have to go back to hell. No, you're already in hell. You need to get your ass out.
Exactly.
Oh, do we have some comments? Can I share you? You must have had a thought going, oh yeah, did I spark something?
It just flew out the window.
Yeah, because I made you live. But it did spark something, didn't it? Mm-hmm. You don't want to be in hell, do you?
Oh, God, no.
How do you know that? It was your comfort zone.
Not fun.
Oh, so is your comfort zone getting tighter and tighter, or are you volunteering and saying, I intentionally deciding I need to change my moment? I can't sit there and blame my husband. I can't blame God, and I can't blame that my circumstances, because you realize the more you do that, the more energy you invest to keep it.
Exactly.
So what makes you want more? Not in the wanting or the yearning, but knowing that I'm going to set my GPS.
Because I've had glimpses of what joy is. And I want that always. And if I heal my shit, I will get there.
Good. And you realize the life you had, it's not that it was false. You had kids, you had this, you had that, and you were being who you were. There's nothing wrong with that. But can you see how you were asleep?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was good. You had great memories, but it always resulted at the end of the day to feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Felt like shit at the end of the day, and was exhausted at the end of the day, and had no energy. Why do I do this again?
Did you say you were living externally all that time?
Oh yeah.
For happiness, trying to get life.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to get life. Here's a woman by the age of 20, what? Got cancer?
I was 21 and a half. I had, I had ovarian cancer and had a complete hysterectomy.
And that took away one of her life's choices, which was to have children. Now, it was devastating. It has chased her down. It was as if it just happened yesterday. Do you feel that the same amount of grief and loss that you can't have?
No.
How do you know that, and what? Explain.
It's I've done a lot of healing in the past almost year. It'll be a year on, let's see, a year tomorrow, a year time.
Probably.
Like,
Really?
yeah.
Nice.
On the 10th, so the 9th, so Tuesday. I've done a lot of healing, and I don't need to put my power into remembering that and running to the end of the timeline and, oh, I wasn't able to have kids and blah, 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 blah.
So that was your story, not
That
your
was
story.
my story. It was my story for many years.
And there was nothing wrong with having that story, but you could feel how it was your wound that was the story.
Mm-hmm.
And it made you lose power. It created you to be in spiritual debt.
Yeah.
And now that you started to heal those, and what did you heal? You healed the yearning, the loss, the pain. You healed so much, but did you even know you were in that far in
No,
debt? And now you can see the difference. How do you feel?
it's a memory. I mean, yeah, I had cancer, big deal.
What about not having kids?
Well, I honestly don't think I was made to have kids.
Oh, I think there's an epiphany abound. Do tell. You convinced yourself that you thought you were supposed to have kids and there was a great loss and everybody should cry about it. But what do you know? We don't.
Well, it was about a year ago. I had a 6-month-old baby, or no, a 6-week-old baby. And, went to that. That's how old I was when I came to live with my parents.
Oh.
And so I had her for what, 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah, the parents were non-existent. So basically she had her almost every day.
I had her for
weeks at a time.
And yeah, I loved having her, but damn, that's a lot of work.
Yes, and that's why I'm thinking if I have a child, I'm glad to give it back. I love my kids, but oh my God, yeah, too much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love kids. I have a grandniece that lives 4 hours away that will be 2 in a month, and I have not met her yet. But someday.
But before, you would have been yearning, oh my God, you would have been mad. You would have judged. You would have had a tantrum. You would have done what?
Yeah, I would have, run to the end of that timeline and, I would have, demanded to have M back, but nah. There's no point in going there.
But you're not crying and licking your wounds.
No, because I healed that.
You know that time. If you hadn't stopped and thought about time, you wouldn't have known that time was lost.
No.
And you are learning that if you're meant to be in somebody's life, you'll be in it. And if you're not, it's not that you have to cry about it, because if you look back, do you have the same group of friends, family that is you had before you began this journey that you couldn't live without? Are they in your life now? And do you miss them really?
No, they're not in my life. And honestly,
you love them and you can talk to them, but it's not.
It's like not every day. There was one of my friends that I talked to every day for 4 or 5 hours a day. I haven't talked to her in probably 8 months.
Wow. Did you even know it?
No. Another friend of mine put something on Facebook and I'm like, oh, I wonder where this other person is, because she is in the semi with her husband, so they travel. Yeah, I wonder about her, but yeah.
And you can love and you can send energy and you can pick up where you left off. But you can also then realize when you go back, you may not have a lot in common. Is that, will that be okay when you get to experience that? When you can get to see where you've been. Now, I know you had a couple of those, meaning your different levels of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And now you listen to them, you're like, wow, I can't think or believe the same way anymore. And that's okay, but wow, are we different?
Yeah, yeah. There's one of my girlfriends who we've never met, but we were best friends. I haven't heard from her in over a month, and some of the stuff she's posting on Facebook, I'm like, yeah, no, I can't live there. And I want to say, look at it this way, but I know it'll fall on deaf ears, so I just keep my mouth
What do
shut.
you mean by that? How do you know it'll fall on deaf ears?
Because she's not awake. She's not even close to being awake.
So the ability to speak to people, sometimes you lose that because your language changes.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Yes. You have to be okay to lose family and friends.
Oh, wait, I think I've heard that before. Repeat that?
You have to be okay to lose your family and your friends.
What does that mean? Do you know?
That means that, yeah, you can still love them, except they aren't going to hear what you're saying from your heart in their ego mind.
Yes, that is true.
And like last weekend, not just this past weekend, but last weekend, my great aunt, who is 92, going to be 93, she had no phone over the weekend, and she lives alone. And she was afraid to stay alone at night. I knew that she would be okay. Are you having problems there, Brenda?
No, all solved. Continue.
And so, and I think we had class. It was Thursday or Friday, and I said, "Shit, I'm losing power to this. I'm being pimped." Or yeah, no, prostituted. That's it.
So yeah, you were pimped. And just so that we'll continue the story, and then we'll have to tell people what that means. So what do you mean? Your grandma pimped you out? Oh, Amy. Oh my God. No, not sex wise, but energy wise.
Mm-hmm. Because before, and you gave me a point to heal out the I have to do this.
Yes, out of guilt. The have tos, the nasty ass have tos.
To the point where it was, I wanted to, because I know that she's, close to the end, and I wanted to make an old lady happy. And
big difference in feeling.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't that, oh shit, I gotta go over there.
Yeah, because that's what the ego does. It bitches and moans and it wails and it cries and it wallows, and sometimes, I have to say this. Betty says, you decided to quit sacrificing your authentic self for the sake of others. So you're learning and growing. I just thought that was good. Very good. But anyways, what you realize, you moved in that position. I want to do this. It's a big, big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you made a difference in her world. You made a difference. Again, oh my goodness, Amy. Amy made a difference. Not because she had to, But this woman, here's the thing, we can't prove it, but if you feel someone's resistance to wanting to be there, and you've known that feeling yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care, yeah, I want to be there, but yet they can still feel that resistance, then you really are not doing them a favor.
Exactly.
But you changed your frequency of your field and showed up differently. Please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Responsibility means you choose the ability to respond the way you want to. It will control you if you don't, and it will infect the space and the living things in it. Learning respect. So you're learning that respect for yourself. You're learning that respect for her. And because you changed that emotion of guilt and that, oh, I have to, and I have to give my power away, and you're changing those belief systems, you were able to bring energy different to her space, that she felt love in a completely whole different manner.
Mm-hmm.
She felt safe, secure, and stable in a whole different manner without having to feel bad because she asked for help.
Right.
And both of you made a difference in each other's world. You got to spend that little bit of time with her, remember the old you, and understanding the more of the new you. So, Amy, you made a difference again. Golly gee, Ames! So who you are does make a difference. I hope you begin to see it.
I am.
And you don't have to always bring your anger to the table, and you resolve that out. And she used hope therapy to resolve it out. And what did it mean when she got pimped and she got prostituted? Prostitution is that you're taking and you're doing something against your own will. And you're letting other people put what their needs are, or their story, their dream into your head, and convincing you that you have to do it because no one else can.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how desperate somebody is about taking care of a situation, not sometimes for the greater good, just so they don't have to do it. You don't know what some of these stories are, but if you are constantly losing power, then you have to change that within yourself. And for the first time in your life, not only did you show up and not have to give hours and hours and hours away for free, like you always have.
Right.
Somebody says, hey, I'll pay you. Wait, what? That's a concept?
Yeah, exactly.
And not only that, but because you used a healing tool and changed that energy inside, I want people to get that. She got to feel the difference of knowing what it felt like to actually wanting to take her willpower and be there.
Mm-hmm.
And she witnessed it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it is very important to understand you can grow. I'm so ready to wanting to launch these classes, but I can't. I have a few more months of before I can, because I want to make it so that people that's like, well, I don't want to be live. I don't want to be, that's fine. It's an online course so that you can follow along, so that you can stop, look at the exercises, redo them again and again and again, if necessary, until you're ready to evolve. The biggest thing is to take something that's unconscious and make it conscious. Otherwise, if you don't, it's called fate. So you can intentionally start to say, thank you, Spirit, learning how to see how you're asleep, bringing it to life, and then using tools to change that. And when you do, then that strength of, I don't know how to do this, to I know how to do this, to being a professional, if I forgot how to do it, because I've done it so well, you're learning how to become a guru. G, you are you, or glad you are you. A guru is not somebody that you have to always look up to and give your power away. You're learning to be empowered. You're learning to be the power inside. This is your life force. You'll get 100%. Stop wasting it. It's time for this evolution. Oh, let's see what LaRonda said. She goes, them words, lose family and friends, always scared me. But as I watch it happen, I don't believe I lost them. We just don't click the same way, and we don't talk as much. Yeah, it becomes a natural process that you've always been doing all your life. But when you live in fear and think that, oh my God, I've got to do this, I can't live without them, it's just that you lack that confidence. You lack that ability to speak. And when you start to take and bring your life force back to you, it's amazing. It's based on what you're focusing on. And if you focus with your sensory system in what you want, people can grow with you. They have to accept that there's a new way of showing up. And here's again, let's go back to the beginning. I can't have anybody show up any way that unless I'm programmed to. With 400 billion bits of information, and I can only take in 2,000 bits. Or, see, in some cases, there are some books written and different things change, that 2 million bits per second can be thrown down in chunks of about 200 bits. Now, just imagine that it was toothpicks, and I can only catch 150 toothpicks at a time. That's all my awareness can accept before I explode. So you have this 2 million bits of toothpicks coming. Shit, that's the rest of it fell. I'll try to get more. It's going to be overwhelming. So our subconscious mind records everything. And you want that subconscious mind to run the body, to breathe, to move the muscles, to be able to digest. But when those get disrupted, you have to ask the question. As a healer, you have to ask the question. I see them whole. There's their blueprint. What came in to disrupt that function? And it's not my job. My job is to help you see the connection so that you can turn around and come in and see, yes, it was that emotion. This is why when you live in a narcissistic world, you're born as the truest narcissist is the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And when that baby begins to grow and it does not know how to learn skills, because that's the other thing I like to teach people. If they don't learn those skills, then they're going to turn to controlling the outside to support them. Or they will only see everybody as an object and they're the only ones that's important. You begin to learn as you grow, depending on how your world was shaped through the first 7 years of your downloading before you can actually wake up and say, I don't want this. I changed this decision. I don't want that. But we can't stop being the pain. So when you are first waking up to, for 20 years, all my life, I should say, my 40-some years, it was like I hadn't realized I was around narcissists all the time. And when you have kids raising kids, my sisters, my siblings, my mother had to go to work, was raising me. You're talking about narcissist raising narcissist, okay? So when you don't realize, it's like everybody's like, mine, no, go away, it's your fault. They didn't, all of these things. I hadn't realized that gaslighting had controlled me. It created a compulsion in me that I would be automatically, and I was responding. But it was a decision that I made as a child. What? You made a decision? Well, first of all, the decision was made because it had came in my face, so I had no choice but to accept it. I believed it because I felt it so deeply, and I gave it my willpower because I had so much fear. So again, I make the decision to let Amy to be on that side of the screen. Hold on. I make the decision, put baby in the corner. That's not the same kind of decision. But as we make our decisions as kids, as little babies and children, they become very limited as an adults, but we don't realize that's an arrested development. We don't realize we can't grow. So I had this compulsion that I always had to obey. You can't, And here's the clue. You have to obey your elders. And really, you should be obeying your father. Okay, so I married a man that had a penis. So he was not my father, but he still had that connotation of being a man. And then you're talking about fucking paradigms. Now, don't get me started on that one. But as I woke up, I'm like, why? Why is this control me? Why is this? And he slipped up and he did it in front of my friend. Now, I'm not one to get my friends involved, but I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry. You have got to tell me what you see, because every time I look, I can't see it. It's just like right there. I can feel it, but never find it. He's gaslighting you. My ears are like, what? Now my ego, now this is the very fun part to some degree, is that your ego goes, oh my God, shut her off. She didn't hear that. She didn't hear that. My spirit's like going, shut up, ego. What? Grab a pen. Write that fucker. You'd be amazed at how all of a sudden your ego goes, you don't know how to spell. You have no idea what letter G looks like. Literally, you don't. Because you're like, keep repeating it. Keep repeating it. And eventually, get a recorder out. That can be the sneakiest way for you. It's like, gaslighting, You got to witness. You got to catch it. And when I started to write it down and when I started to study it, and all of a sudden I busted that, cracked that egg open. And what happens when the egg has not cracked on its own and you force the cracking? What's inside dies. Huh?
It explodes.
Yeah, but what's inside dies because it hasn't been able to hatch on its own. And even though it was incubating for years, this gaslighting controlled me a certain way. I cracked it open. I began to look through my spirit mind without having to attack back. And I thought, no, I'm done believing in this. I'm done projecting this. I'm done seeing it as this. And I went in and I helped that little child inside. And when I started to take my power back, like I loved using cord switching, it had nothing to do with being angry at my husband, my ex. Oh, ego-wise, yeah, that dickweed, you name it. But on a spiritual aspect, is like, son of a bitch. He's the asshole. He, as a soul, raised his hand so I could see what is me, and I'm projecting my shit, and I married it. It's time for me to resolve, to evolve. And I began to use tool after tool, hope therapy, because it was something that it was just little cues, little things, little triggers. And as I began to do that on such a deep level, he says, oh, you're changing. What's wrong with you? Oh my God, that's a clue. I must be doing it right because I'm disturbing his reality. He wants me to show up the way he wants, but I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to sit there and play my game about how I have to show up the way that I had taught myself as a kid, my experiences. And I began to unravel the emotion that took those thoughts and those beliefs and those decisions in that direction. And what I did was change and take back my power to find out what's important to me. I began to change my values. When I had healed it, he then all of a sudden, you could see for the last desperate attempt, constantly, every day, I love you, this and this and that, down to every attempt to make sure I didn't leave was, well, you're just white trash. I got you out. I can put you back. And I went, wow, that's the attempt of love to get me back. That's an interesting one. I was done. And then again, I healed and I healed and healed. And all of a sudden it was, he realized he couldn't do it anymore. He said, I guess I have to let you go. Because let me tell you the main thing that happened when I healed. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to think about it and act. No, because they're just going to fire and wire and keep repeating your shit. And then you're just going to go, that didn't work. That didn't work. I changed these. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. These are musical notes that you're made of. This is a graph of an abused woman and an abusive man. This man had so much physical energy, but he had no mental and emotional. Here's a woman who had more mental, emotional, and filled in the gap. And look what it did. The frequencies matched. And Vicky, God love her, puts a meme on my wall of these people, and she's got 2 front teeth missing. She takes off her mask and she smiles. And then she realizes, oh, I shouldn't show myself. And then the man goes, no, wait. He takes off his mask and he's got the 2 front teeth, but now the rest are missing. Now they can mate. Now they can. But here's the problem. If you're meant to grow, like she was meant to grow out of the physical, develop her ability to stand under 2 feet, to find her voice, to work on herself, then she ended up balancing, taking some of the energy out of the mental and emotional and put it in the physical. He had to take it out of the physical and begin to feel and think differently. Guess what? They don't have to be together. But you want to know why women go back? Is because of weird frequencies. But when you begin to wake up and educate yourself, like I sat there and I kept trying to write the word gaslighting, and my girlfriend wrote it and put it in front of me. And I sat there and I'm like, wow, the ego, it's amazing. I'm dumb. I cannot write this. I forgot even how to hold a pencil and what I'm supposed to do. I can't even print, let alone cursive. What? And then all of a sudden it was like I was aligned. And the universe started showing me memes. All of a sudden things would be set in my e-box, and then all of a sudden there would be something on my wall, and then I would look it up and it was like in my face, and it was like, I'm not going to go back to sleep. And then ego was like, oh, fine. It had to get back its power because I deliberately used healing tools to take those emotions of being the victim to being the prostitute, giving my power away and betraying myself. And I developed my mental quotient, my emotional quotient, my physical quotient, and my spiritual quotient. I began to change so much so that the person that I was supposed to be with was fighting to keep me, even though it was to keep his world the same, keep himself the same, and to admit he didn't love me the way that I needed to be loved. His language was different. My language was different. And it was like, we cannot be together. We're 2 great people that can't be together. Why would I call a narcissist a great person? Well, don't be shaming your baby because they're a narcissist. The point is you begin to grow. We are 2 great people, and he was a huge part of my world. I could give you a ton of great things. I could give you a ton of crappy things because the more that I didn't heal my shit, the more I resented him. That's on me. The more he resented me and I felt it, that's also on me because I did not put up and learn my shields. I didn't learn how to create my bubble. I didn't learn that I was a kinesthetic, a sensitive, and an empath. I also take responsibility because if I push away the cause and he's the cause and pushing me, then out here is the wisdom. I'll never fucking learn from it. I need to learn to stand in the cause. It isn't about, I want an ego self, blame myself. No, is standing and looking and diffusing those emotions that changes those thinkings, that allows you to see something different. And as you change your beliefs, a miracle is a shift in thought. A miracle is a shift in a belief. And when you stop believing in something, you're taking your power back. And when you stop pushing yourself to be in that position, you've changed the decision. You no longer accept it. It isn't, I don't accept that. Well, that alone is still saying you accept it because you're now putting your energy in a different position. People don't realize you got to stop doing that too. When I took all that power back, and he's over there doing his thing. Wow, that's not affecting me at all. There's no buttons to be pushed. I must have installed all of them. Checking to make sure I didn't have any in my butt crack or in my toes. I was just like, who are you? How did this happen? He was just a human being now. He wasn't an it. but I didn't have to lose my power. And I looked at him and I thought, we can't be in the same space anymore. I'm ready to fly. I thank you for stepping up to the plate and being my husband and helping me have two children and the life that I had and the safety and the security that I did have and the stability I did have. It may not have been enough, but that was on me for the fact that that's the way I responded and acted and was. But I had so much to be grateful for. How can you stand in the middle of the wisdom and look at both sides and not end up hating one versus loving the other? It is within the wisdom that you grow. Now, I don't want to go back to that life. Why do I have to live there to prove something? I stepped onto my path and now I have life better than I ever imagined. I go to bed happy. I wake up happy. I'm with a man that makes me happy. And to know what love is when I was trying to find it. And I developed and grow. Your turn is next. Now I'm going to check if anybody has. Yes, we have a Shama. Shama El Dossary. If you're there, we are ready to take you, just so that we know. And then the rest of you, if you want to, you can come into the room. You can have Zoom. You can come into the room. It's not necessary. You can do it just like this. Just let me know that you're here and you're ready to do a reading. And if you have a topic you want to talk, if you want to come into the Zoom room, there is the number. Make sure you have Zoom and you can come in. So we're ready to have that. Every time a person, because Shama is, I hope I said it right. She has now got their name into the Hope Chest because it is June 8th here and on a Monday.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
and your future looks great, but
it's a holiday in most Australian states.
yeah, I knew there had to been because my groceries aren't coming till tomorrow.
it I looked it up because I asked my friend Michelle, who also lives in Australia, what's the, because she said somebody was coming to visit because it's a long weekend. I'm like, I wonder what holiday it is. It's Queen's birthday.
Yes, and that, yeah. And it's so different because with the lockdown, you really can't tell. But a lot of the holiday things over here, it was always like, okay, so you have your Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays off. And it's my husband not going to work. I don't have any kids to send to school. You know, it's just you don't realize when a particular event is happening, unless you're watching the news and other stuff. But we all make a difference. We all have a purpose. And you know what? When you look at that poor little screw and you're like, oh yeah, you go into, hold things together. But then you look at the screwdriver and you're like, what purpose do you have? And when you realize what the purpose is for that screwdriver, you're like, damn handy, especially when you have to put a knob on a door to get out of a room. Or like the lid off your pot comes off and you're like, oh, I wish I had a screwdriver right now. It's like you want to find that because you know the purpose of it down to the simplest things. It is very, very important. Now, I do not see her. A lot of us are, huh?
I'm wondering, she said sent a donation.
Oh, did she want a reading? Yeah, but some people's donation means that they want a reading. Some people give a donation and they don't want a reading, so that's why I need clarity.
I don't see her in the room anymore.
All right, well, we'll just keep that option open. And thank you very much for the donation. Jennifer Osika says he's still in lockdown. Yes and no. Between our borders, like if you would say the United States, and you have all these states and their borders, we haven't opened our borders to all the rest of Australia. Some of them have, and some of us haven't. We have done some Black Lives Matter rallies. But here's the thing. We don't know if it's going to make a difference in the pandemic. Here, we care whether we have the pandemic not saying nobody else cares, but I'm saying our focus is different because I've lived in Michigan and I've lived here. We focus on, it's not about obeying, it's about what do we want as a greater whole of Australia. And so we gather together and say we want to make something happen. So a lot of us have been making this happen of we don't want this to spread. And then the first time that we were able to go out in certain stores that could be open, I mean, we're all doing our best to keep the distance, but it's like you go to down one aisle, who goes? We need turn signals, we need lights in the stores to be able to where to go. And standing in line and I did not. I mean, one reason I don't like to go out is because I can pick everybody's energy up. But when I went out, it was happy. But the thing is I'm a talkative freaking person. Oh, how you doing? Ha ha ha. And it's like, stop it. And people were so excited because then all of a sudden I wanted to talk more. I'm like, Brenda, you're just observing, no absorbing anybody, please. But it's like, ooh, looking at these faces and looking at being able to talk to humans and connect. So we have a lot of things that have opened up. One of the things they wanted to open up because we had the rallies, the protesting, the I can't remember what it's called. We want to open up our games, and I think in like 3 days' time we are going to have our first footy game, and we're ready for certain sports to happen over here, and people want to go to the game. So I'm not sure exactly how that is. So we're keeping close tab on if the numbers start to go up, then certain things need to be canceled. So the question is well, if we already had some of the rallies, that's what it's called, then why can't we have go to the footy games? It's like we doing it in small doses. So that's what we're doing. And anyway, we are not as in lockdown as much because so South Australia, we still are at 440. Thank you, Spirit. We'll see what happens. No, I think somebody just paid. Oh, yes. Angela Barakat. I can't say it. Barakat. Angela, and then Angela sent twice. Did you mean to send twice?
Yeah, she sent one for her and one for Chris.
All right, who wants to go first? Angela or Chris? You guys decide. You can come on to the show. There's the
just like through the feed.
That's fine. Did they have a particular topic?
That I don't know. I don't know if you saw, but there was a troll in the room.
No.
I blocked his butt.
Very interesting. No, I had not noticed. It's interesting. It's good. I didn't pick up the energy yet. Oh, let's see. Yes, there's a lot of things you can do. I don't know why this spring didn't work. I would rather have the bigger board so I can actually see. Try to do color combinations today. Oh my God, it's the first time the color combinations did not want to work. So give me 2 seconds so I can
see. It looks beautiful though. It worked.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and I finally fixed my necklace. This is my from Jules Verne from Etsy. I broke the piece. It got caught on my drawer box. So when I picked it up quickly, the piece broke off. Well, I was so saddened by that. And I finally got the Body, Mind, and Wisdom piece fixed. And now my necklace is fixed. That's why I wanted to wear it today. But I kept changing out the colors. And finally it's like, okay, this is what you're wearing. That's it. You're done. Oh, finally it's moving. Yes. Now I can make the bigger screen. Well.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, Shama would like a reading.
Somebody says, how do you know it was a troll? They must have said something that triggered it.
It was, they had put up a YouTube video and something about all lives matter and blah, 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 blah.
Okay. Sometimes Sometimes, people want to protest during live feeds. Again, that's fine, but at the same time, it is maintaining the thing in the room. A lot of times you'll have trolls that come in the room that have a lot to do with swearing, trying to antagonize the person that's doing the show so that all the focus goes on to the situation instead of what the show is about. And, that's how we know. Okay. I'm going to take, you know what? They're saying Chris first. So I don't know if it's male or female, but they're telling me that I needed to do the reading with Chris first. I'd like to have a little feedback, but I'm not sure if it's, here we go. Okay, Shama, you said with Chris too. So we'll take Shama, and is Chris going to be in the room or not in the room? You tell me. So tell also, what do you want to talk about, darling? Because you're paying for it. If I could direct it, that would be great. Spirit will just say what it wants to say. Oh, my head just spun. Not like your head spins. This was different. I think this is more of a spinning out type thing. Hey, my glasses even match to some degree. Do I look like a librarian today?
Yes, you do. I love it.
You naughty girl.
Excited for, I think it's Thursday your package should arrive.
Oh, I get the present. My birthday's coming. Oh, it's a month early. I still getting a present. Oh, I like that. Christmas is coming early. Is that Chris not in the room? Okay, so, that's the Chris. Okay, gotcha. Anything. You got it, honey. Hopefully you know what these are like. All right, so listen with your spirit mind. Whew. There's certain behaviors that frustrate you, and then it jumped to the word criticism that get your attention. So there's certain behaviors and there's certain criticisms, and it's linked back to a bad memory. They say you lose quite a bit, about 50% of your life force goes to that, and then you won't have that 50% to create your life with. It gets your attention, but I don't know if you're aware of it. Oh, it says yes, you are. But are you aware that you're investing your energy in that direction? Yes. Okay, good, you are. And so they're saying that that there's an auto response. And as I'm looking deeper, let's go back to the age of this bad memory. About 1.5, almost 2 years of age. And it was something that the experience happened, and you turned it what's called towards yourself, meaning in order to change this, I have to do this. So you learned that the language. So if you were bashful, let's say you're bashful because that's the word they're using, then you realize I can't be bashful. They don't want me to be bashful, so I'm supposed to. Wow, my head just did it again. So that must have been you. It's like a part of me says, it's like you change. I don't know if you're even aware that it's like in order for so that your true nature was to be bashful. Then all of a sudden you learned something, you turned it towards yourself, but I don't know if you're aware because you said there was a bad memory. Now I'm not able to see this. All I can see is this weirdness that I have to be a certain way. And now that's what you're trying to wake up from, because all you have now is knowing that when frustrations and criticisms will put you into, but you're waking up from it going, ew, okay. My head feels weird. This is the most, I can't explain it. Changing my face of who I am. Did you put on a mask? Yes. You're so close to me right now. You're like, you're in my face. You're in your own face, but you're in my face. So as I'm looking at this, tell me more. And they said, I don't want to be depleted. You know how when a person gets white knuckled, if they're fearful when they're driving, they got to control certain things. It is. Oh shit. Okay, now all of a sudden that ancient energy is in front of me. Changes. Now let's look at it. Who are you? You're her. What age? You're your 3-year-old self. So we know that about 1.5. That's what that is. There's a part of you that it's like somebody was in your face to change your behavior, and they figured, you're just a kid. You ain't fucking gonna understand me. But and so I just can. I don't know if you can unleash or whatever this person, but it was there. Now at 3, your 3-year-old self says, as I became very awkward with different signatures of people. Can you kind of give me an idea? Like there'll be injustice energy. It would be that my reality is that I'm supposed to be like them. So I'm supposed to be more self-centered, not centering the self. So you changed through time, but they're going back to that's what you have to be, Shauna. And you're like, oh shit. Now all of a sudden my third chakra is like, did you have to do this to be strong? It's a okay. It's a rough world out there, so I have to make you tough. Did you ever feel like you had to be toughened up? Toughened up. That's the word. Shit. Okay, sorry. The energies ran through me, and it's like something you felt so deep within yourself. Wow, it's going back to whatever. Even though it happened at 3, it went back to the 1.5. You could. It's like you had to feel depleted. It's like there's inner crying. It's like you couldn't really show a particular emotion outside. There was a lot of fear. I get that. And then, but you couldn't show weakness. So there was a part of you that checked out of who you were. And I'm going to tell you, the little girl that you checked out from, she's super excited. She loves color. She loves sound. Have you tapped into her yet, Shama? Because it's like my heart is just wants to explode with joy. I mean, it's like, so I'm just going to ask, can you? Yes. Oh, you have. And every time I expand myself, oh, there it is. All right, go ahead. Every time I expand myself and I expand myself to a certain point, all of a sudden there is this inability to feel all of a sudden or to describe a particular emotion. And then all of a sudden I will start to contract the energy. And I'm going to ask, are you aware of it? No. It's like, but you usually recognize it afterwards. It's like, wait a minute, I was just, it can be that obvious or it may not be that obvious. But they said there's an alarm button, something about stubbornness. Do you want her to? Okay. So they said the first thing to do is notice what you do toward yourself. Okay. That's just it. If you have contracted your energy, do you have to act a certain way for certain people? That is where I would say you need to overcome. The best thing for you until I am, if I knew you a little bit more or learned the energy a little bit more, we could talk more. Okay, so I don't usually like to just leave it like that. So if you could learn the OMG point, when you are beginning to wake up and notice, you may feel like you are going back to old habit. If you could just start doing this, you can bring that blood back up into your forebrain so you don't have to repeat. So because it's a very habitual, and we need to get you to change that if that's the direction you want to go. So tell me what you think of the reading, and that would be good. And now, Chris, there you are. Okay, Chris, anything specific you wanted to say? Okay, just let me know, honey. Just let me know. And yeah, just Amy, have you shared this to my other places? Okay, good. Once you start to, because I have a lot of repeat people that come in and they can dive in deeper. You can learn about the healing tools and medicinewomansolution.wibly.com. There is a lot of healing tools. Shama, I want to ask or tell you one thing before Chris comes on. Hopefully Chris can tell me what he wants. I feel like you have this great bubble, but there's certain areas with people And what I want you to understand is that when you even think about them, you need to kick their energy out of your space. Oh,
Very
good.
important.
She says, OMG, you're so amazing. I'm so going to try that. Okay. Let's do more than try. Let's do. Now, why is it very important, Ames, to do the Celtic weave?
Do the Celtic weave, connecting heaven and earth, the hookup, peanut butter, so that you are able to protect your energies.
So you won't absorb or
Won't absorb, and you won't morph as often as I have in the past.
Good. So you've really learned the difference.
Oh
So
yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah. I think it was yesterday. I don't know who the hell I morphed into, but I wasn't me.
but you were thinking about them, you think? Because you weren't really
Maybe,
exposed to them.
maybe subconsciously.
And sometimes what we learned last week was that the person does not even have to think about them. The person, if you like, for instance, I know I'm being observed, but what if I didn't? Like when you're watching my TV shows or my TV show, the videos on YouTube, the strangest part is you really need to protect your energy field. Okay, this is why it's this big. And as you protect this energy field, hon, the Celtic weave kicks people out. The connecting heaven and earth recreates that figure eight space within yourself. And the hook up or the zip up really strengthens this. So when people are throwing shit out, you don't have to feel it. You don't have to absorb it. Because like I said last week, they had this person sitting in a room observing the person, and the person that was being on video had no clue somebody was watching them. But every time somebody watched them, their hairs stood on the back of their neck stood up. When they weren't being watched, their body knew. And that's kind of what we do. Okay, so if you can learn to understand the Celtic weave, those are all free healing tools. But if you need anything deeper, then we can go there. Chris says, just a general reading this time around. You've got it. Okay.
Okay, you can put me back up in the corner.
Okay, baby says in the corner. La 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 la. Yeah, there's an indecisive energy field that you developed when you're about 3. So first of all, are you very decisive or are you very indecisive and not know it? Because that's the gallbladder meridian. It's the way that it affects the way you create an outcome. So it affects the outcome, the results. So what they're saying is, all of a sudden my breathing's changed. Certain emotions, when you were little, about 2.5, 3, your pride was wounded. And hence that developed the way that you think, whether it's indecisive or to be completely decisive. But how that happened, whatever the event occurred, you're constantly looking for cues. Am I making the right decision? What's this? You lost your voice? Okay. Somebody from the other side is standing here with me, and they're saying that your particular cultural background is to have has an experience that other people wouldn't. This affects your decision making because it's like you have to uphold. Is that what he was saying? Uphold certain values, traditions, and beliefs, and you feel like sometimes that locks you in to being that's who I have to be. But I feel that okay, Chris is changing in such a way that he's finding the third option. But I don't know if he knows. Okay. So you're waking up and you're realizing that this is the world. This is your culture. This is who you are as you're a man, I think. Are you a man? So you have all of these what's called encodings. Your third option is to stand up and realize I'm going to get the wisdom that other people have not been able to get. So you're learning to stand in the cause of this whole situation, and you're learning the wisdom, and you are actually making a different choice than, being a man or being the different culture or being a different part of the society. and you're making a better choice because you're actually beginning to see through more of your, I would call as the spiritual mindset. So I feel like when you try to talk to certain people, they don't quite get you. And that's because you're actually speaking at a more mature level of consciousness, which is our chakras. And so when you go to speak with that frequency can't hear you. And so they're saying you don't need to prove anything, that you're just supposed to dive deeper into who you are and really start to stand out like the sore thumb of this is who I am, not wave it in people's faces and say, look at me. No, it is, this is who I am and taking up this much space and I'm owning me. That is what I'm hearing. Now, I feel like this is like the signature is more of like a mom feeling, somebody that you looked up to. Not necessarily have to be the mother, but it's very strong. You valued their opinion. They're saying that when you were younger, you liked certain things, and it excited you, and that was part of your identity. You kind of had to put that on the back burner, and you had to do school. You had to be this. You had to be this, and this. They said if you can begin to tap into that part and bring it forth, you would just nail it. You would be able to really find your particular style, voice, belief, and you would wear it. You would be, this is me. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, Chris, but you have a head on your shoulders. And there's a part of you that doesn't have to be lost in that indecisive or being too decisive, because they said there's a certain panic that controls that behavior. That is what they want you to address. Because when you were younger, it was pushed so that you'd go into low self-esteem to do their decision because that's the right one. But you're moving into the new collective consciousness that it's not when you look, if you do decide to see this person will have a right and wrong. And then this person will have a right and wrong, but it's different than those. And then those people have a right and wrong, which are different than those. Who's right? Well, you can take a bit of information from everybody, and you're going to learn how you define your right and wrong without having to sit there and place judgment, but to live in a discernment that says, well, you don't even live up. So your type over here says, oh, do as I say, not as I do. This person over here says, what's up with that shit? I don't even know what that's about. This person changes their thought. As soon as you think you know they're right and wrong, then all of a sudden it changes. So there's a part of you that's not sure, and I feel this like a hesitation. And it's like, so if you wanted to jump from the airplane, you would stop yourself. Or if you were going to leap over railroad tracks before a train come, you would stop yourself. And there's a part of you that fears that it would hurt if I made my own decisions. Again, I'm going to tell you the same thing as I told Shama. You start doing OMG, you'll find it on my site. And you too need to protect yourself because you're moving into a very big leap. I don't know if you two are together, but there's a big leap in consciousness. I feel like one of your major duties, both of you, is to hold this light on this planet, to think differently, because you're ready to tap deeper into your heart and be more cohesive with your brain and heart connection. Sounds like these people wouldn't accept that. What the hell are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I already do that. And you're looking at them going, no, it's different. I don't know how to explain it. I have different experiences. Please, Chris, tell me how you feel about that, because if you're not aware of that, I'm sorry. But if you are, keep going. Keep going, because you have a beautiful presence. I don't know how to explain it. Let's keep that going. You don't need to shy away from it anymore. Okay. So I think Sharma said it was happy. Shama?
Shama.
She said happy birthday. Is it her birthday? Is that what I saw? Beautiful. Happy
No,
birthday.
she was saying happy birthday to you.
Oh, to me. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it'll be July 23rd. I think I'm going to be 53.
Yes.
Okay, I have no clue. I knew it was in my 50s. But I feel ever since I got here, I feel like I'm growing younger. It's funny because
there was... You're going to be 35.
That'd be good. But there was a woman that's an actress, and she's going all over Australia, and she says, I'm the more I go around Australia, the more I'm younger. I says, I know the exact feeling. I know the exact feeling. I thought that was unique. Okay, so Chris says, I feel like I've been going against what others say or believe for a while now. Yeah. Don't stop. You have to own you, sweetheart, because your voice matters. It's not about you. Once you start to realize this and aim for joy, it's going to help you in such a way that it's going to help many people around you. You just don't know yet. I'm not sure who is next to me either. But I will tell you that there is 13 people. What I have is I usually have one person as a representative to represent the whole, because if they all came at me at once, oh, hell no. So they know the rules in this room. Because you do not need to see me morph looking like today. They're blue, people. I'm going to have to change my driver's license if there's blue eyes. I've been holding blue eyes for a while now. I haven't seen green eyes in a while. Yeah, that's interesting though. Makes me have a lot of questions. But Chris, go for it. Be you, hon. Be you.
Oh, those pictures that you posted with you and Charlie, they would look brown to me.
What color are my eyes today? I don't know. Okay, let's start the 1 minute. If you want a reading.
No, Angie.
Oh, how did I miss? Did she come back? Did I just screw up?
No, because remember they said to do Chris first. You did Shama, and then you did Chris, and now you have to do Angie.
Gotcha. I threw my brain off. Okay, let's try this again. Angela. Are you there, sweetheart? Hello. Angela. Oh, where are you? Because all of a sudden the birds just came in and tweeted at little tiny birds, and they just gave me something on a ribbon. I don't know how to explain it. Oh my God, Angela, I don't know what this is, but it's very beautiful. Two birds just came in and dropped this off. The colors, there's a light blue like a ribbon, and another color with it. I can't see what that is. And they look like they're braided with little tiny flowers in it. Take that with you. I don't know how to even explain this except for just energetically hand it to you. Oh my goodness. So Chris says it sounded like my grandmother when I lost 2 days after me 8th birthday. Okay, Chris, see, that's the thing. That's why I said it was like a mother figure, because it was very strong. Okay, Angela, so are we doing it like this, hon? Are you coming into the room? How did you want to do it? Ah, Terrence, are you serious? July is on the 20th. Okay. It's my birthday as well. I'm 26 today. Today? Is this your birthday? Oh, is it really? Happy birthday, Terrence.
Happy birthday, Terrence.
Doctors told my family I wasn't going to make it past 2, and I'm 26. Keep growing, Terrence. Now I'm still going. Still many years to go. Yes, you have a voice, honey. I love your voice already, but just imagine what you. I wish I could. Wish I could help you understand how beautiful you are. and taking it that step further, Terrence. I really do. Okay, Angela said this is fine. It's fine. Okay, Angela, you ready? Mind, fear, object. Mind, fear, object. And the funny part is, what are these three things that have in common? I don't even know. I'm just asking. They're saying it's the way that the broadcast messages that come off of you. So people treat you, is this part of like a projection? No. 3 years old. I have fear. And so your mind is projecting the fear that you're going to be an it, and that's what happens. So is this a projection? Did I say it wrong? No. So it's a broadcast. Understand this is different than what your soul projects out. This is a broadcast. So exactly what is she? So I always see a broadcast. It's like, leave me alone type thing. So with our voice. So what is exactly are you broadcasting to the erratic energies that I'm bashful and they're at fear? Fear of the erratic. So basically this is your energy. Your mind can't help but to go into fear, and you would rather be in it when the erratic energies, the people around you, you understand, when they go into their whatever it is. Some people will be happy as a lark, but they're frightened, and so then they get erratic energies and their language changes and they're taking their shit out on you, and you don't know how to respond to it. You're like, oh, I just wish I wasn't it. I don't want to be present. But at the same time, you became an it because they're now throwing shit at you. Does this make sense to you? Because, oh my God, it changes your digestive system so greatly. So when you do a resonating broadcast, it really pushes out life force. So you can kind of be a shield, but that's not a healthy shield because your energy is displaced. They want that healed. So I'm going to look. Tell me more. And they said, well, it is how others want a particular outcome and will push you in a certain way. And the program in the room, the environment, or whatever the space is, you can feel them. Oh, so let's say she walks in the living room. The particular outcome for today is, and this is a repeated story that's referred to you in great fear since you were 3. And the energy in the rooms will dictate. For instance, if somebody was fighting, it'll be psychic residue that's in the space, and it will influence you. And that's another way of morphing, Amy. It will influence you, the psychic energy that people have left in the room. Psychic energy they left in the food that they were making. You seem to be very sensitive with this. And what happens then is that you begin to feel very empty because it triggers, and you begin to feel very empty. Oh, she goes, yes, it does. And I have IBD. Ooh, okay. Let's continue. There's a tendency to go into, when you're triggered, to want to go into like a depression, and it's going into a habit of failure, which is not even yours. Do you understand this? Whatever the incident was at 3, the energy in that space dictates. So you walk in, it triggers, it'll make you feel like you feel empty. Okay. Or you can't, and then you can't get rid of that energy. And therefore your body then begins to think something is, it's the habit of feeling depressed. Do you know where you care? Oh. Hold on. Where are you carrying that depression? My reproductive system and my endocrine system that sits in, do you know what, glandular? No. The endocrine system, you know, all of it. So it's like the depression. If you understand the endocrine system, it has to do with the communication with the way the body uses hormones. And the glands such as the hypothalamus, pituitary, the pineal, the thyroid, the parathyroid, adrenals, but it's apparently in the whole system. So it's not everywhere. It's sporadic from what I can see. And they said because of this, like you can see certain things showing up in your nails, you know, because it affects. So it's the transferring of protection that you have to do from the outside. So you try to do your best to protect yourself on the inside. Okay. Anywhere else is this depression that shows it up the most? Your digestive system. There's something else in the digestive system. Are you saying that there's a psychic attack in there? No. It just, okay, I'm sorry, this is too juicy. Give me a second. So you carry, like when certain people carry anxiety, you really have to focus because you can feel them and see them because it changes the physiology. Your depression affects those areas of that to which I speak, but you're also carrying paranoia. There's a certain amount of paranoia that's in the body, and it's disrupting the healthy flow of energy your body is to take care of yourself. So if you end up understanding that the body, this is for all of you, as the body's consciousness, my unconscious mind right here, okay? I rehearsed it, I memorized it, and I stored it into this so that my body knows it better than I know myself. And when I'm in the environment, let's say I walk into the living room, everything looks fine. If I use my eyes, everything looks fine. So it's my living room. But there'll be some trigger that will go off and it'll take me back to that 3-year-old self to where the environment wasn't healthy. And then all of a sudden my thoughts will be one of paranoia, or maybe my thoughts are one of, certain emotions. And what will happen is that my body's trying to tell me I'm losing power to that. It showed me message-wise in the physical, symptoms, but it also is telling me because my thoughts, like the other day I went outside, it was so cold, and I'm sitting there with my husband and he's talking, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta pee. My body is telling me I have to pee, but I'm not going into the bathroom. I'm standing there. Oh, another shiver, oh, I gotta pee. And I'm like, okay, I will obey you in a minute, body. Just give me a minute to finish this conversation. And then I will go into the bathroom and go pee. Now, we don't realize it, but sometimes we will say out loud what is the body's trying to communicate to you is the issue. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And so this is where you have to go in and use a tool, OMG, Hope Therapy, EFT, cord cutting, cord switching. But you have to take that emotion that's displaced in your energy and vibrate it out of existence. That's why we measure it to get it down to 0. Okay? And you realizes what I'm saying. That's good. So it's very important. Miss Amy, you have paid. Does that mean you want a reading?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Are you ready? What do you want to talk about? I knew you didn't do that. I know. Okay. You've been looking for a particular outcome ever since you were 6 years old, but you may not be aware of it. So now you are wanting a particular outcome, and they said that it's something good you're looking for. And so let me see if I can find that something good. And that is the uniqueness, the blessed part of you, the stability. And you're looking for this, okay? But is there something dislodging it? Yes. And that is you feel invading energies of other people's egos. So anytime that you have this, okay, so when you look at egos, You got one big definition, but there is a scale of people that is like they got a little bit of ego to wounded ego to the big fat egos to the you know, so you have this scale. And anytime you have you're looking and searching for that particular outcome with that person, place, or thing, or holding that as yourself at all times, you begin to feel invading energies from people's egos. Now, if that person is happy, yeah, you may all of a sudden maybe contagious like a smile, you know. Um, but it could also be uh, they're having resentment or bitterness towards somebody, and you don't realize it. You're like, but I've done the Celtic weave, I've done, you know, the connecting heaven and earth. Well, according to you, you have keep repeating this energy that you know what invading, that's how you need to define it, energies affect you. And so when so the the security is absent, because they were looking at absent-minded, insecure, and they go, no, 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 look, it's absent security. When you're with these people that you're supposed to have security with, it's absent. And this is what throws you on a great big trail even further. So make sure when you watch this again, you are looking, you know, it's very fine detail, but I know you know what I'm talking about. And you're going to look, oh, there's an ego. Am I losing power to it? Because if it's invading, you're going to morph too quickly. You won't even realize. But in order to bond as a child, you taught yourself that I need to bond with them. And when you did, the only way you knew how to bond was with their egos. And so without realizing, their ego invaded you, which made you morph into, I need to behave a certain way in order to not be what? I don't know. You don't want to be an it. See, she knows. And so then you've created this limitations about who Amy really is based on everybody's ego, which you, as soon as you begin to connect, you feel this energy coming in, but instead of changing who you are, it now invades you, and you become this energy of the victim, of the prostitute. So therefore, you have to sabotage yourself and then go back into your little childhood self. So this is very deeper than they were before. So you can feel this. They said, mind you, that your phobia, and anytime that phobia is brought up, it needs to be looked at as the sensory system. And they said that there's usually a location on feeling. In this case is that, is it, okay, so now I'm going to look. Is it the left side, right side? So the right side, it's right here. So when you're going to do a healing, you make sure you do EFT with the rolling of the eyes and involve the two halves of your brain. That's the humming and the counting. Because if you were to do hope therapy, they said to have you hold L1S and kind of notice looking in the upper right-hand corner is how you constructed. Remember that upper right-hand corner is the construction zone. Okay, so it's an imagination. And what are you imagining? You're imagining, I have to look for acknowledgement, and then I know I'm going to be happy. So when you can't see that, instead of remember that, you look at imagining when you are looking, oh, there it is. Even though they may not have given it to you, or you're trying to take bits, and I understand this, because people in your family were kind of rough in their nature, their personality. And so you had to take only little glimpses of this in order to feel love. So that's what you're going to focus on. So you will be holding L1S and notice, are my efforts received or unreceived? So you're looking for that acknowledgement. That's what you're going to start to address on a hope therapy level. Okay. On a EFT level, you are going to have to understand that even though I put myself under pressure to be what they want, but that's not what you're really doing, is you're putting yourself under pressure to be what you want in order to get that love. So you force yourself to trade yourself in, sell yourself short. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And how you will know is when you look to the other side and you're bitching about it.
Exactly.
Oh, that was a nice deep one. That's very good. Okay, let's do the 1 minutes. Here we go.
Miss Patty.
Okay. Miss Patty.
Anything from her mom?
Okay, so her mom says, lofty energy is in the air. And this causes her to say, no, I'm not going to go outside today. So there's lofty energy in the news. There's lofty energy in the environment. There's lofty energy, not in an individual, but as a whole. And she's like, this is how I defined it as a kid. And they said about 3 years old, as you expanded yourself, the world is a very dangerous place. I don't want to do it alone. I don't want to do this. And therefore, it is looking and seeing that this energy is where you lose your power to, and it changes you. And they said it's time for you to change back. And I forgot to set the timer. So toward yourself, you tell yourself, I don't know what to do. So you're going to go L1D, push that in, and think about, I don't know what to do when I feel and I know that the world is dangerous. Because that's literally the next step that's going to stop you. Okay, who's next?
Amanda, you can put me in the corner first.
Okay, Amanda. There's a weakness of energy, not in your body, but you can feel this weakness in the paradigm. And the weakness, so when you're looking out and you're watching the news, you actually see where there's energy loss. Oh, you do? That's good, Amanda. And what happens with that is that you feel depleted yourself. And you feel that slowly have to repress certain emotions. And I feel like you're like, no, I don't want to go back to sleep. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to forget. And because of that, you're becoming very aware that that's what the world is saying, because we're not wanting to go back to sleep. But it makes you very self-conscious, self-conscious to the point where you feel naked and that you don't want anybody to see you. What that means is that you have to become aware of when you become self-conscious, and that fear controls you, is that's when you start to lose power and where you become weak. And they're saying that you can actually change this out, because you have to start becoming aware when you start to feel this and you start to feel small. You're like, nope, push your energy back out. Do you have to think and feel that? You can switch this. Who's next?
Miss Betty Decker.
Miss Betty Decker. Do give Patricia her timestamp, because I don't know if she was here when it happened. Miss Betty says, she's changing out of the martyr state. That's good. And she can feel the contempt from people. She's so stubborn. She won't do what I want. And there's a lot of people that's raising a lot of stink and a lot of ruckus because they're not getting their needs met. Therefore, now they got to rally in the troops. So you can see what minionism is. And it's like, she's a bad person. And they're all aiming that shit at you. They say, no, do not take it on. And so Celtic weave may not be enough for you. And you can hear the sour grapes all over the place. And so what you're going to do is you're going to hold L3D, okay, third point down here, L3D. And you're going to think about all of that and think about how their behavior is and think about the contempt. And if you feel it come in and about how it's trying to hit that button to make you auto respond, and that's where you need to go. It's just right there. And and eventually, remember, put everything on scale from 0 to 10. It should change it. Okay. Who's next?
Miss Vicky.
Miss Vicky. You know, even though she's not in Hawaii, she's got that aloha, oi, going on. Not sure what that's about. But at the same time, she's finally starting to feel a little bit of that emotions that got repressed. They're starting to feel alleviated. And as they do, she feels like she's back home. They said the OMG of times past is that there's just some anguish. Now you're going to feel this with people. You're going to start to watch them grow out of their space. If they don't understand that, if they don't, please understand that your projection of the things that you need to heal, what you don't like about others, is actually the things that you saw as a kid. It's familiar. And so if you're seeing them in anguish, go back. When did I see the anguish? How did I see the anguish? How did I become anguish? How did I avoid anguish? And they're saying that they want you to hold R3S. Okay, so that third position down here, nice and soft. Next.
Deborah, she's Vicky's friend and is watching with Vicky and would like to know if there's anything from her mom or dad.
Be more clear. Be more clear. There's 4 people here. It says, be more clear. Learning to have that precision of your voice on your language is that don't be afraid of that hesitation. Speak up. So if you're not sure, like let's say you forgot Vicky's name and you don't just stumble around, okay, fine, be brave. And if you say Victoria and you know it's wrong, but yet it's not, they say be brave, learning to talk, and see, there she's going. They said you go back to sleep sometimes and you don't know certain emotions that are beginning to occur. And if I said, okay, which one do you want to address? And what? When there was like some instability that you experienced when you were little, and that causes you to your body wants to keep readdressing this, your body. And not the life, but the body. So there's something in the body that you feel like creates an instability. And it's part of your identity. It's been part of your, the way, so how you abuse yourself is how you think about yourself. And Mama says, stop. Wake up to the self-talk. Stop. Just stop. And she's doing this is the way to say that she's sending love to help repair the things that had happened. Okay, who's next?
That was my last email.
Then we'll take Caitlin. All right, so Caitlin, your 1 minute for you, my dear. The fear of judgment. What's interesting is you're beginning to watch and feel how people have fear of judgment. And so then they'll start judging, and then you start seeing this event that's happening. And there's a part of you that's starting to wake up and realize that the fear of judgment is also things that are unfair, the quality and the quantity and the content of what they're saying is about certain things are unfair. And you're beginning to notice that panic starts to erupt. So they're really showing me you as the observer. And they're saying there's a part of you that's learning to use your intention, whether you need to give yourself a part of and be part of their rally for each of these people, or to realize that these people are, some of them are just following each other, some people aren't. But you're realizing, do I need to? What part? So you're in the question state of who you are. What part? That's what I'm hearing. What part? When more you wake up, you'll find more of your part. Diana. Mm-hmm. Yes, we will do that too. Miss Diana. Oops. All right. relationship to yourself. Because in order to move forward, you have to understand a relationship to yourself. And one, why do you have to throw them so far? God. Almost. Jesus. Okay. Now, hold on. There. She said you got to work on rejection. Can you see the screen? Now, here's the thing. When rejection happens, you're in a retreat mode. Retreat. Because you're like, but what are you retreating? I can't express my love. I will not express my love because that's what got me in trouble in the first place. And so you are repeating that particular story over and over. So that's where you need to address next. Let me see. Let's see. You know, that's what Shaggy said. It wasn't me. You have to really open up your heart because this is love, but you got it in reverse. It is to readdress what love is. What does love mean? You need to look back because the pain is so overshadowing that it's not going to allow you to let yourself to be love, have love, or any type of love. And you're at a state of growing because if you have love, you can't have love if I don't have love. You've got all of these thoughts. They're going in so many different directions. And they said, okay, L1D it. Just hold L1D and notice every time you judge. Begin to recognize that it's judgment. A judgment is a limitation, a slam in the face, a door. A judgment is meant to keep you where you're locked, where you can't move. And you said you wanted to physically move. You can't because the judgment is going to lock you in place. Gives you flat tires. It just, okay. Let's see. Anybody else in the room that has not emailed, that's fine. Anybody in the room that wants a reading, I'm looking towards it now. You guys have been great and wonderful. And tomorrow is Tuesday. So we are going to be doing a meditation in the tribal unit. If you have not joined the tribal unit, you may want to join now. It's just $36 a month. You get 5 videos and you can look at the archives. You can be involved. You can grow. You can develop who you are because it's not a full-blown teaching course like the academy, but it is a lot of people want to heal, but they can't afford it, but they can afford $36 a month. And this actually begins to help them to grow and to develop. If you have paid for reading, your name will get into the Hope Chest because it's a chance to win 15 minutes with me on here. And yes, today I'm in South Australia. Today is my Monday and it's your Sunday. So what's going to happen is tomorrow is my Tuesday, which if you are, it's 11 a.m. My Tuesday, but which is around Central Time is what time?
Central Time, it's Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Right. And then if you know where you fall from Central Time, you know, whether it's whatever, then you can see. So I do it in around 11 so that the people wherever you're at can join in. It seems to be the most possible time for all people to do, to be able to. Because when I tried to go on, earlier, it was all about people were having dinner. I thought, okay, 11 a.m. is fine for me.
Yeah, and then, but once we fall back and you spring ahead, time really gets screwed up.
Oh, yeah, I know. So you can't calculate ahead of time. It only is when you're living in the moment can you figure that one out. Just know I'm part of the future and your future's looking great. I think you guys have a voice and I'd like to be able to hear it. Vicki says time, except for an ass crack of dawn day, is much better in California. It's not so late.
True enough.
True enough.
You're what, 2 hours behind me now, Vicki? I think so.
That's right. She was down in Texas and now she's in California. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So you have a chance to grow. And if any of you are still here that I gave a reading to, you know, leave a feedback. That's great. Recommendation, any of that. But share away, help people find their voice, find how they don't have to be asleep because we're all here to wake up. All right. And resolve to evolve.
Heal instead of deal.
Oh, feel it to heal it.
You can heal that.
And I did remember, and I wrote it down to the other one. If you can't, if when in doubt, heal it out. That was it.
When in doubt, heal it out. Okay.
Yes. But most of all, please stay blessed.
Stay blessed.
Bye.